We're going to ride on board with Joey Haynes right here, our current leader. It's all going to unfold right in front of him.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's like a video game. It is, well, I mean, I say that, but you know what I mean. It's just zipping past cars. It's like he's playing some arcade game there and just blasting past them one after another as they all wreck around him.
I mentioned how aggressive Hovdal was through the GTO traffic on the lap before, and here he's going to try to go around the outside, which he's already in the dirty air, and just barely hangs on to it. Bill with another poor exit out of turn one. You got to think the over-under has got to be coming at some point, but no. Neil Kemp's going to try the long way around turn two. What a battle here for the sixth place position. Neil Kemp has half a car over Bill Tyler, but they're going to take it side by side into the short break zone. This could be disaster right here, but Bill Tyler thankfully backs out of it.
Will he get both of these spots, or will it be Kimo or Gernot through the first corner, out of that one, and now it's going to be three wide as they come up to the next braking zone.
Watch Leno right here. He's going to have the best draft off the back of Kimo, but Gernot's going to take it wide around the outside. He's going to have great traction coming off of this corner.
Who's going to get the exit? That's going to be so critical. Oh, no, banging wheels.
We're almost to that point. Antonio Alvarez is 5 seconds back, so it's only going to be 4 cars. But my goodness, it's a 4-car fight now for the 7th position.
Oh no, this is too wide through the jam. This doesn't work well. Fabian Jungbluth is going to have to take a course cut. That's going to be a slowdown penalty. Aitor Sintes Galindo keeps on rocking. That's going to be Xavier Sanchez and Ross Banfield now taking it too wide on Aitor Sintes Galindo. He doesn't have a time to breathe out there.
Nobody has a time to breathe. Sintes Galindo fighting off the battle from Jungbluth. Now he's under pressure from Banfield. Xavier Sanchez looking on in the back, and Jungbluth is now caught up because of these guys going too wide. Everyone's a little slow right now. They've lost a full 1.5 seconds to Antonio Alvarez. Now it's almost going to be 3 wide into the braking zone for the next right-hander, and they make a little contact.
Just a little bit of contact puts 2 wheels of Banfield out on the dirt, and the defense of Aitor Sintes Galindo. Write this down. This is one for the ages, folks. He is still in that 7th position.
There's a bear in the woods.
Right, come on you fatty. Come on fatty.
I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there.
Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room.
And we're on the way there. Ignore the fart. We go, and a bit of that, and a bit of...
You know. Sangers, James, Sangers I've got.
You're a rock motor.
pedal broke, man.
And thanks to Showdown Bros, Mickey's on the most useless street in the world. Come on!
Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys.
Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road.
Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it, feel it.
I might be going mad.
Want to see me underwear?
Two rounds through, and Obsidian has been the name of the game. First Ade Koba, then Fernando Antli have found their way to victory and have become the form setters leading to December's grand final. Only 40 will make it there after 10 races, so right now, we hit the meat and potatoes of the season. This is VIR, the Virginia International Raceway, round 3 of the Simify MX5 World Sim Series, and it's live on the Global SimRacing Channel. Welcome one and all to the track that is America's green hell and sits just a mile away from North Carolina's state lines. My name is Jake Sperry, and alongside me in the booth is Joey Atterbury. Zach Johnson takes the reins in the production trailer tonight, broadcasting the images on cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Now, VIR is in a select group of circuits where a track used to be run, went defunct, and was restored to former glory. A look at our GSRC track guide will show why this circuit was restored and why there aren't many circuits that are as technical in the United States.
Welcome to Virginia International Raceway. Only a short trip away from the state's border with North Carolina, this track has had the rare blessing of being resurrected from the dead. After closing for a quarter century, once it was rebuilt, it quickly began to draw major sports car series to its halls. The new owners didn't skimp on refurbishing the place either. An impressive 5 versions are available on iRacing with a range between 1 and 4 miles in length between them. With that much pavement, the plethora of corners have earned some colorful nicknames. The horseshoe kicks things off right away with a never-ending double apexer that tends to suck the greedy out into its runoff. Later on, the climbing S's force you to thread the needle before spitting you out into the steep drop at South Bend. Then, of course, there's Oak Tree, which sadly no longer sees its namesake landmark on the inside of the turn, but still retains its frustrating difficulty. Let's not forget one of the scariest obstacles at the end of the lap, the roller coaster. The incredible speed drivers carry up into this blind braking zone is what causes it to require such immense bravery to get the most out of the lap. While passing can be tricky here, the long backstretch nicknamed Madison Avenue and the lengthy front stretch do tend to offer enough of a draft that you can still give a go at a pass. Still, track position is usually an important factor in most races. With the picturesque backdrop of the Appalachians around them, fans are not left wanting when they come to watch drivers face off at this historic track. It's no wonder the circuit has found success in its second chance at life.
So that is VIR and what makes it such an incredible showcase. Joey, you've had the opportunity to drive here. You absolutely love this place, and it's the sort of place here, Halifax County, which is built for racing.
It is one of my favorite racetracks in North America, just over 3.25 miles in length, and gone through a couple different iterations, 20 turns, but this is the most updated version with the extended curbs on track exit and couple areas to watch out for, especially on lap 1. Look out for turn 1, always a big braking opportunity where drivers get eyes that are usually too big. And then as always, the most exciting part of this racetrack, the climbing S's. It may not look like much on the map here, but let me tell you, it is flat out fifth gear climbing up through there. And then these cars can go too wide if the opportunity presents itself. But no matter where you are on this VIR track, there's going to be action.
There absolutely is, and this is going to be a showcase of overtaking. The draft is so powerful. Watch out for the run on Madison Avenue to the roller coaster for that to be the place. Let's talk championships, though, because at the very top of the championships overall coming into today, it is Ade Koba who maintains the championship lead, 15 points over Fernando Antoli. You could say this is regular season with the grand final in December. Jason Cooper has had back-to-back second places, but is third in the championship based on seeding day points, with Pablo GoPro Lopez in fourth position ahead of some very quick drivers, Marcelo Peñan and Pablo Espez. Morgan Burkhardt, repping it for the United States of America, is in seventh, with Vladislav Shopov in eighth place. Adam Delmont is in ninth, and Oscar Pajadas rounds out the top 10 in the drivers' standings. But we'll take a look, Joey, now over to the team standings, which looks like a very strong showing already.
Yeah, Obsidian on top right there, 104 points behind as 5-Star Motorsport hanging in there, but pretty close after that. Next Gen Racing as well as Delta Sport locked in that battle for third place. Negative Delta by Bueller's there fifth. Blue Rose Team, Carbano Waka Esports, GTD Racing, Platinum Racing in ninth, and then also CFPM Sampio Racing hanging on there in the 10th place spot.
They are, and that is the father-son duo there, that team of Jameson and Enzo Sampaio. In the Nations Cup, Spain are on top with 699 points, boosted very heavily by Obsidian Racing. The United Kingdom find themselves second, with Italy and the United States in a strong race for third and fourth positions. Finland and Bulgaria tie at the moment, fifth and sixth, ahead of the Netherlands, Brazil, Germany, and then Turkey, rounding out the top 10 overall in the Nations Cup. Now, Joey, there are two races here tonight in the MX5 World Sim Series, 3 for the first 2, but it's those seeded splits which I think are very important to making the top 40 in the championship come the end of the season.
Yeah, seeded splits, and they're going to be 25-minute races like you see, and a couple different setups being used today, but all the competitors will be on a fixed setup, and there is a spare car available. However, if you get knocked out early in one of these races, I think it's going to be kind of more getting back out and doing laps versus having a chance at winning.
I think that's certainly going to be the key here too, when they've got the unlimited spare cars available to them. If they do get into an accident, they can still score points and have that availability to do well. We are in the twilight, though, of qualifying out there. They've got 10 minutes and 3 laps available to them to set those times, and a beautiful look then at the number 33 car then of Erin Gumersdal, who has set both or onto the final lap out there overall. Currently the fastest in qualifying here by 0.4 of a second, a 209.264, absolutely mastering the times. And the thing with seeding days is they only get, Joey, 4 laps total to set where they seed. So if they didn't have a good seeding day, they're in trouble. They need as many points as they can through this second division race.
Well, and not only that, but I'm looking at the clock, and if you don't get out there and get on it right when qualifying starts, you might not have the opportunity to finish your laps out there. And as you see, even on lap number 3, only got 40 seconds left, and he's going down the back straightaway.
Yeah, all the way to the roller coaster section, just 190 kilometers an hour in the Luff Apex Racing car. Got that small flick left, try and get it settled in for the brakes at the roller coaster. Slightly misses the apex there by a good third of a car width, but down the hill off of the roller coaster, you now rush towards the hog pen corner, which is the final corner on track. Try and take as much as you can through this section, carry as much speed through the exit. It surprisingly falls away through here, but that's going to be a dive into the pits from Gumersdal, who cannot improve on that time. The final drivers will try and get there. I think Bill Jenkins is going to be slightly short as the clock will expire here in terms of this Division 2 race, which allows us to take us to the Simify starting grid, the new title sponsor for the MX5 World Sim Series. Simify is an online web shop housing a vast array of sim racing essentials for your next step in your virtual career. From steering wheels, seats, and handbrakes to even the common sim racing glove, Simify ships worldwide and is available to be seen both in English and Espanol. Use discount code MX5WSS at checkout to receive a discount on your sim racing purchase by visiting www.simify.com today. With that said, the starting grid then for Division 2 is as follows. Aaron Gummersdahl is on the pole position. We saw that by a massive margin with Matt Tempest in second and Tony Hasia, who is inside the top 40 in the championship, going from third. Tony Williamson will be alongside in fourth with Javier Sequendez and Peter Reed housing the third row of the grid. Simon Robson and Luis Suarez will be on row 4 with Sebastian Hain in ninth and Damian McMullen rounding out the top 10, Joey.
Here in 11th, we have Riyad Yasmin, followed up with Patrick Alders. Charles Kellyman there in 13th, Yannick Willems 14th, Martin Smith 15th, Tim Lancaster in the 16th position, Kay Poulison there 17th, Nicholas Norwood, Renee Zagalar, and David Geddes there in 20th position.
Over to 21st, and you've got Mackenzie Mann, Kalle Rantanen will be alongside with Nick DeBeck and Connor Hope. John Turner and Stephen Orrell will house row 13 with Neil Armstrong and Melvin Tyne. The rest of the drivers then are going to be there. There's a number of them, 46 or so, and the green flag drops, and we are underway here from VIR. Gummersdahl gets a good start. Tempest and Harsha will follow in suit. A lot of drivers already looking to go to single file, but the horseshoe is going to be a very difficult place to get this one sorted and off the early stages. On the brakes they go. Cold tyres, cold brakes. Who's going to find a mistake first? All nice and clean as they go through. Brilliant battling then up at the front. Harsha up into second position. Tempest drops to third. Williamson back in fourth. They fall single file then as they head to the NASCAR bend, and trouble's already. Williamson getting out of shape there on the brakes.
Yeah, it looks like a couple cars maybe a little bit further back with some issues, but up front right now, pretty clean racing as we're getting into the lower part of the S's for the first time. You see the lead pack really zipper into single file and try to maximize the speed out of these low horsepower cars.
Yeah, and it's all about the opening laps. You can get a breakaway early. You're not going to have too many worries when it comes to the drafting and along this snake and up the climbing S's. This is where you're going to find just how brilliant this is. The middle of the group here around Peter Reed. Incredible as they crest up over the hill. The South Bend is so committed, Joey.
It really is. Up over turn 10, one of the fastest corners on the racetrack, and you see cars already dipping tires off onto the inside, and pretty common area. Now we got to move up through Oak Tree. Really brave on the brakes for the first time, but you see it really pinches off the exit coming out onto the straightaway.
Oh, it really does. And then you're going to need some help. And watch out in the opening couple of laps for the slow down penalties. They're going to hurt one of the iRacing Nederland cars there in the background falling down. That's Kay Poulison, who's dropped way down the order then. But at the front for the race lead, watch out, Aaron Gummersdahl. Not going to have the move happen by Tony Harsha. Not in the early stages here, diving down into the roller coaster, but you've got time. You've got 25 minutes, now 23 minutes on the clock. So here in the Simify MX5 World Sim Series, you don't have to make your move straight away. You do have a little bit of time. Settle into the race, or if you're Harsha, you're going to go around at the final corner and flicks it back and catches Sequendez.
And there's more action coming through Hogbend. We got 4, 5, 6 cars turned around, more cars stopped on the racetrack. We have pandemonium in the final couple corners, and man, it's more who got through versus who is damaged.
Yeah, one of the fleet 10 cars they go through. Look at that. Some of the Wumpy cars there are off the road. That's definitely not going to be ideal, and they're all going to be battling to try and keep themselves going in this race. And it's that final section of track where you're committed to it, and effectively that final Hogpen corner funnels into, you've got one line off the exit of this car.
Oh, 100%. Every car, and you have to commit going down the hill. You got to commit that the compression is going to catch you, and got more cars off in turn 1 that I think are figuring out that they have damage from that Hogpen wreck.
Yeah, and it all starts with Tony Harsha, who is right up there, 36th in the championship. Needed a result today, hasn't. So Gummersdahl leads. It's Tony Williamson now in second. Simon Robson up to third. And it's important to talk about drivers who have made moves, like Simone Serrano, for example, 43rd up to 19th in this race already. And he is currently the hard charger, and there's 2 more in trouble then off the road over at the right hook of this track.
Yeah, you know, I don't think the action is really going to stop with 40 plus MX5 cars out on VIR. Now, trust me, I've been out on VIR with 40 plus cars, and it is a busy place. And anytime you put all these virtual cars out there, it is going to be non-stop action, no matter where you look on the racetrack, whether it be for the lead, which is actually kind of calm, or a little bit further back.
3 seconds the margin for Aaron Gummersdahl, who has managed to break away from Tony Williamson. So I think Williamson will be looking behind at a race for second place at this point, with Simon Robson, who we saw was really aggressive on that opening lap. It certainly paid off for him, Joey. He's already up from 7th on the grid to 3rd place.
Yeah, some really good moves from Robson out there, and trying to hunt down Williamson is actually right in the draft right now, so not close enough to make a move here in turn 1, but definitely in the rearview mirror, applying that pressure, doing what he can right now to try to hopefully get one step higher on that podium at the end of this.
Right, let's have a look at the chain reaction then that happened at the end of the opening lap and see exactly where it all fell apart. So it's with Tony Hasia, first and foremost. He grabs the curb, gets a wiggle, tries to save it, can't bring it round. Off everyone goes. He catches Sequendez, who comes back across the circuit then, and they've got a plume of smoke here, there, and everywhere. And I think there are secondary incidents that get themselves caught up in all of the action. That's why everyone finds themselves in so much trouble. So we'll take a look. One of the Fleet 10 cars there getting caught out and in trouble through here. And look at that, just dropping the tyres. We talk about this, cold tyres on the opening lap. It takes about 3 laps for the tyres to get up to heat.
Well, and it's also one of the trickiest parts of the racetrack. You got to come down this hill. You're trusting the car to catch you on compression. And if you're offline, like we see right here, you're just going to fly off the racetrack. But this actually looks to be the safest line is off the racetrack through that corner.
Oh, it is. Look at that. It just continued on, and everyone just finding damage. Look, there's one bumper there that was still hanging off there in the middle of the road. So it just shows you just how one action happens on the opening lap, and then everybody gets a little bit scared. And on top of that, it would have been the fact that the yellow flags were there. Now, here's a bit of pack mentality racing that we've got going on. The middle of the pack. This is David Geddes along with Melvin Tyne. Tyne's found a way through, and bullying a way through is Yvonne Hufelaar. She's found a great move.
Yeah, and coming up over turn 10 on the racetrack here, it gets narrow on exit, and here we're coming up to Oak Tree. Now, we don't have the Oak Tree in the racetrack anymore, lost it a handful of years ago, but still referenced as that Oak Tree turn, which leads out onto the back straightaway. We're already seeing cars get that better exit, pull out of the draft, and make the pass going down the straight.
Yeah, and that's the key. Yannick Willems is trying to make that happen at this point. So too, Johan van Winden against Anton Simeonov. So there are certainly moves in the middle of the field where you can find those places. And it is important to use the draft and strongly have it. The difference between having it or not is a lot in this machinery. David Geddes finds that out and troubles on the front stretch then for one of the drivers. And I think that might have been Robson who got himself... No, Sebastian Haynes in trouble.
Yeah, Jake, he was in 4th place at the time. He came out of Hogpen, lost it all by himself, kind of like what we saw in the first lap. He hooked it driver's right out of 4th place and into the wall.
Oh, that's a real shame for him. It's definitely with driving a fantastic race up to that point, but then the troubles persist. Still, though, we've got some brilliant action going through as Martin Schmidt holds station over Mackenzie Mann. These drivers then doing well 9th and 10th positions, but Mackenzie Mann and Stephen Orrell are up a respective 11 and 15 places each. Make that now a very important attempt as they will get Schmidt and, of course, Sequendez. And we don't know how much damage Sequendez has to the car with his contact with Hasia.
Yeah, not quite sure, though. But thankfully with these cars, you know, lower horsepower. So if they get damage, aero damage at least, it doesn't seem to affect them too much unless you're that lead car in the train where you're really pushing all of that air. However, if you got friends, if you got buddies that you're racing with, you can kind of count on that slipstream to help you along.
You can, and this group, this second group, is going to be key. As wide out then of the Oak Tree corner goes Riyad Yasmin, the Lebanese driver, and opens up the door for Matt Tempest to find a pass and gain a position. Now, it's an important group here with Williamson in second, and you got Robson, Reed, Tempest, Yasmin, and Patrick Alders trying to catch on to this group. You just have to stay patient and try and find yourself someone to work with. This is almost like a tango in this series. You need a a partner to dance with. Yasmin will stay on the brakes, then into the roller coaster section, and Tempest going through, very much keeping a nice, stable run, because mistakes will happen around this circuit. This isn't America's green hell for no reason.
No, and we've seen plenty of mistakes so far, and cross your fingers through this roller coaster hog pen section. Looks like the leaders are able to get through, but look at this. This is 4 cars all battling it out for really what would be 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th place on the racetrack. And I think you're right, Jake. If one car makes a mistake or gets shoved offline or maybe even starts to battle side by side, they're all going to be stacked on top of each other.
They are, and there is the 72 car, and that is a lot of trees because someone's off the road. Luis Suarez sets the fastest lap of the race. He will get a few bonus points for that, and not quite sure there who's off the road, so that is a big off there for Robert van den Heuvel, who there in the Dutch number 87 car has found out what makes it difficult if you don't hit the brakes over at the roller coaster.
Yeah, I could talk about each section of this racetrack all day, Jake. Every section is tricky, but lots of elevation. And then couple this, look at this, more cars off on the racetrack. I believe this is Tim Lancaster out there on the front straightaway doing some donuts out there in the grass.
Yeah, Kalle Rantanen as well got caught up in it. So that for Tim Lancaster is a shame. Down into the pits then. And that is troubles. Back up further forward then through this field. Everybody trying to drive with everything that they've got available to them. And this group right now, Simon Robson has just ceded the 3rd place away to Peter Reed, who will now look to try and charge on with this race and do as much as possible. It is worth noting as well that the hard charger battle is tied at this point, or now is just about to gain. Oh my goodness me, Kay Poulsen almost found a way off the road. And speaking of which, as drama's up at the Oak Tree corner, I believe Michael Tanagretta's just been caught up in something too. So there you can see, that's the remains of Michael Tanagretta's front. And Eronwan now, along with Serrano, Sophie, she's up 26 along with this, as now Reed trying to defend the position then for 3rd, holds it.
Yeah, but it was actually Matt Tempest that took 2 for 1 on the back straightaway. It was, I believe it was Peter Reed and Robson that were now sliding off the track through Hogpen. That seems to be the trouble corner all day today.
Absolutely, and so just going through, Robson getting so much drive, Reed a little bit too aggressive through, will now join the 2nd pack, and there's nothing to say with the wind that's really doing any troubles, and we're in fixed conditions out there, so the track's not going to devolve in any way, shape or form. They deal with the lap traffic there on the inside, and look at this as they charge through. Javier Sequendez, they're going to join the group right now because Alders and Yasmin in a bit of a scrap as well. This suddenly becomes a mega pack. There's about 9 in here racing for what would be around 4th place at this point.
I love that, a mega pack. And yeah, it is. It's about 9 cars all on one frame right here, stuck between turn 4 and 5 on the racetrack. And we're seeing that it really is anybody's ball game right now. We've still got 13 minutes of racing left, and with the attrition we've seen on the racetrack, keep your head down, keep focused.
Keep focused indeed, and this for 2nd, immediately a mistake from Tony Williamson going through then at the right hook, or going onto the snake, has brought in Matt Tempest then for a chance. Let's take a look at the Global SimRacing Channel replay. This is how quickly a mistake can happen. Back end kicks out through the left hook, able to keep it on the road. That's some heads-up driving to get that stop, but it's cost him the 3 seconds margin that he had at the start of the lap.
Yeah, cost him a lot of track position, but hey, life saved out there. But honestly, I'm impressed with Matt Tempest right now. It was just a couple laps ago that he went 2 for 1 on the back straight, and now he's got Tony Williamson lined up in the draft. He's going to make the same move, try to outbrake Tony going into the highest section on this racetrack.
And the fastest, you could argue as well. That roller coaster is important. You have to turn and brake as you go through, and there's contact. Off goes Matt Tempest, hard into the barriers and back out onto circuit. Tempest stay, all but done.
Oh, Matt Tempest got turned hard in the right rear there, and off goes Tony Williamson. That was some side-by-side racing going into one of the narrow, tricky sections. It's kind of a slight bend while you're in the brake zone, and more trouble on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's Alders and Yasmin both off the road, and there was a 3rd caught in it. and that would have been Javier Sequendez. So that 3-car, 4-car pile-up even, going down the hill out of the roller coaster, that would have completely shuffled up the order there. So top 10, at this point, it's who wants it.
I agree. You know, I'm trying to keep up with this race right now, Jake, and I am struggling over here watching timing and scoring. I think up 17 positions, Mackenzie Mann up there fighting for a podium.
Sophia Ronwin started outside of the top 40. She's in the top 10. That is how much this race has changed going forward. And this is the group containing Mackenzie Mann. 5th position at the moment. There at the back, there's Ronwin. She's up there in 9th position. But you got Martin Schmidt, Luis Suarez, you got Peter Reed, and you got Stephen Orrell in the mix, as well as Nicholas Norwood, who's lap traffic on the back of it. Everywhere you look, there's packs form and then deform, and this is what makes great racing. Meanwhile, Aaron Gummerstahl's just got himself a casual 13-second lead through half a race.
You're right. We haven't even mentioned our leader, and he's one of the only cars that's been able to turn a 209. But this pack right here for really 4th through 10th place, this is what makes MX5 racing so good. It's the back and forth, constant side by side, and I guarantee you, after this race, every single one of these competitors is going to be smiling.
You can see the damage there to the front left. It will be front right on your screen there of Martin Schmidt. That will be costing him in a straight line, but it won't matter for the moment because there's Peter Reed, who's going to pull up alongside. Car-to-car contact there between Reed and Suarez on the straight. It opens up Stephen Orrell now with a chance to move over to the inside, and the Derry is scary racing car, and on the brakes is going to get it sorted. Get it stopped. Just about manages.
It shows you once again how odd that braking zone is. The next lap, we had another close call. It's just a shifting left to right, trying to get the car set up. And the more problem right in front of us, this is Simon Robson. That was our 2nd place runner.
Well, was 2nd place, had moved down into 3rd, and all of a sudden, he was trying to get by Anton Simeonov, the lap traffic. He just spins it behind him because he can't find his way forward. So that brings that then another position forward. Orrell then trying to go around the outside here at the horseshoe corner, get the move done on Peter Reed. Might have to try and go up and unders. Not going to quite get there just yet, though. Orrell stays in station. Suarez then is going to be in a place as well, trying to gain those spots. But you're going to have to look out and try and find what you can in this race. And this is where the final 9 minutes of this becomes so crucial, because you're not thinking about the big picture anymore. You're thinking about this one place you can get. Schmidt in trouble. Reed just about gets away with it. No, he doesn't. Into Suarez. 3 more getting caught out then.
That just broke up that huge pack of racing. You saw just a car going wide. Then simple spin, the dominoes fell after that, and multiple cars involved. You see the 42 of Peter Reed with heavy damage.
Yeah, the SimTech car in so much trouble, and that might be part of the suspension in trouble there potentially too. So that definitely breaks things up once again. There are some more amazing drives going through as we focus currently on Luis Suarez, who will now have Sophia Ronwin looking at a top 5. Now, have you ever started, Joey, outside the top 40 in a race, if there were 40 people, and thought top 5, that's possible? Well, here it comes for Sophie. She'll be looking to make the move. There is Stephen Orrell down the road, but Sophia Ronwin with so much more top speed, an undamaged car from 41st to 5th, and trouble for the lead. That's Aaron Gummerstahl, who's around, and now will Tony Williamson be able to get onto the scene?
Yes, because look at the damage. He's carrying the front left. He has got a dead car. This is going to hand the lead to Tony Williamson.
Arturo de Villa might be caught up in it as well, potentially there, and it was. So issues with the lap traffic has cost the race leader. So out goes Aaron Gummerstahl then from the race lead, and Tony Williamson now leads this race here at VIR Division 2 of the Simify MX5 World Sim Series. Catches a bit of contact, tries to slide to save it, 2 tires in the grass, and easy as that, bang!
It's just heartbreaking for Gummerstahl here, and I'm just going to chalk this up to a learning opportunity, because you see him try an outside move around Hogpin, and now I know this is a lapped car, but he had 10 seconds in front of 2nd place. 1 corner he could have given up, and still been safe out front.
Yeah, he had more than that. He had 13, 15 even there, and that's his race pretty much done. And big points pretty much gone away. And there's more troubles as we go back to pictures, and bang! There's more contact going through then at turn 2. That looks like it's more troubles than potentially. You got McMullen who's off the road, and on top of that, that was Martin Schmidt again from 8th place then, finding troubles. This, I was expecting to be a little bit more cleaner, Joey, here tonight, because of the fact that this was the track that they used for the media day here in the Simify MX5 World Sim Series.
VIR is a wild place as we're seeing more cars try to wiggle it around here, but I've actually got my eye on Aaron Gumastal back again because he's back out onto the racetrack in 13th position. We mentioned the fast repairs, so he's gone back into the pits, got a new car, and now he's collecting those points again, making a move now for 12th.
Yeah, David Geddes, nothing that can be done about that. Thank you very much. Charles Kellyman, the Jamaican driver, will be next in 11th to try and get the pass. Can't find the move then at the Oak Tree, but you got a long Madison Avenue to try and find things to make those moves. Gap is 5.5 minutes to go. And I tell you what, the race is on for 2nd position right now. Mackenzie Mann and Stephen Orrell, who started, get this, 21st and 26th. They are racing for the last 2 spots on the podium.
Well, and Sophie, Aaron, when, you know, if something happens between these two, she's going to be right there collecting the pieces for that podium. But you're right. It's amazing how far back these competitors have started. And here they are about to spray some champagne if they keep it together for 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes and count the clock, because that will be 3 laps at the end of the timer. You finish the lap that you are on. So Mackenzie Mann, who in Division 3 last time out had to play the defensive game, now has to play the defensive game here for Division 2 here. And not only that, for 2nd position. These are vital points in the championship right now. Not as many as what you'll get in the top division of racing, but still, every point counts, especially when you've got 3 drop rounds as well to go with.
Every point counts no matter when you're looking at it. You take the good days, but I think the bad days, when you have a lot of attrition like this, collect as many as you can. That's what wins championships.
And on top of that, there's the 1P Motorsport car of Neil Armstrong, Luis Suarez just behind with Simon Robson. Armstrong's just gone through, and I think Suarez is just trying to get to the end of this race as quickly as possible with a damaged machine. Straight through goes Simon Robson, gains another position. Neil Armstrong, no, he's not necessarily flying to the moon, but his son is actually a very, very successful YouTube content creator, has over 250,000 subscribers out there, which means he's a 1/4 Jimmy Broadbent.
I guess, is that how you do the measurements in your, I guess if you look at it that way, it adds up, huh?
It does. It very much does. And we love the success that everyone's able to find on whatever they can manage. But now down Madison Avenue once again, taking this section of road and trying to gain as much as possible from it. You can sense that Neil Armstrong will be looking behind, and that is a car off, and that is again the 33 of Aaron Gumastal, and that will be pretty much any points then gone completely.
Yeah, and I was just keeping an eye on him. He was fast out there, and more problems. Neil Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong's gone straight on, and well, he's not got a rocket ship here. He's going to have to try and get this back on track. He manages to do so, but it's cost the 2 places then to Robson and Suarez. He's ahead of Simone Serrano, so he'll hold on to that position, but that's a drop then of 2 back down into 7th position. 2 laps to go then here in this Division 2 race. There is Sophie Eronwin. Lap traffic there of Nicholas Norwood is going to stay well out of it on the brakes then through the opening section. You can see the radiator there on the front. Just shows you that when these MX-5s get damaged, they get damaged here with the iRacing new damage model.
Yeah, and I think the one thing is a bumper beam that's missing up there, and more problems off of the back straightaway here, trying to catch the car numbers, but these cars are way off the racetrack.
Oh, they absolutely are, and that is John Turner in the 1P Motorsport machine who is in trouble there. So another 1P car not finding good. And that's one of the TVR cars then in trouble, and that is Luis Suarez.
Yeah, just so much attrition in this race, Jake, and I was thinking maybe with only 2 minutes left to go that these drivers would be focused on getting to the finish, but they are still scrapping away.
They are, and look at the group that's about to join Suarez here. Firstly, it'll be Serrano and Poulsen, who are trying to get there. Bruno Albino's had a great race from 42nd. Kellyman, Geddes, Yannick Willems, Roy Wetherington. They're all there. They all want to gain places. And top 10, there's a big, big marker on if you want top 10. Oh, goodness me. Serrano giving a tap to the back through the South Bend.
Hey, these are MX5s out there. Rubbin is racing, and I think we've seen that throughout today. And getting the run out of Oak Tree right now, capitalizing on this power down exit, doing what he needs to. But look at how powerful this slipstream is. You already see Jaws closing up in the rearview mirror.
Oh, you do. The music's playing. Simone moving over then to the outside, and this should be done before they hit the brakes, and then some here. Suarez might lose one to Poulsen if he's not careful. Look at the closing speed. 13 kilometers an hour on this back stretch. Doesn't sound like much, but in this machine, that's a light year. On the brakes they go. Positions maintain the same, but they head on to the final lap of this race, being led by Tony Williamson. Out in front, you could just see in the back of shot Mackenzie Mann, who is there in second position. That's how far the gap is. The gap is coming down as the laps tick off, but it won't matter for Tony Williamson. This is just bring it on home as Mann now looks to hold off the Dairy is Scary car of Stephen Orrell.
You say bring it home, but that has been a challenge for a lot of these racers all day today. And yeah, you see this fight for second place. Orrell trying to take away this second place position from Mackenzie Mann here in this black car.
Yeah, and just in front, off in front goes Tim Lancaster, so that would have scared them slightly as they went through now and into the snake. This is where you need that draft to really work, and if Stephen Orrell is good about this, he'll find the move either here or on Madison Avenue. He's been waiting for the chance. He moves over, pulls out to the right-hand side of the circuit, left-hand side of screen. Suarez has dropped way down the order. He's run into troubles then in the final stages of this race, but no moves then up through the climbing S's and towards this South Bend.
Yeah, Orrell just pinched the entries a little bit coming up through the S's. That cost him a little bit of track position, but look at this. Really good on the brakes, and now maybe gives a little bit of shove to Mackenzie, but Mann out of the corner. This is where it happens. The slipstream down into the big braking zone.
Can you get this sorted? Can you find the move? And with Tony Williamson just lifting it off in front, 8.5 seconds down the road. Here comes Stephen Orrell looking for the pass then. We'll try and go. Is it left? Is it right? It's going to have to be left. He's going to have to go the long way around. But on the brakes, commitment from Mackenzie Mann. In the grass slightly. They're going to make contact as they go through. This race for second's going to come down to the hog pen. Mann survives for the moment. But for Tony Williamson, rounding the final corner, a gift from Aaron Gummerstahl is a race victory. Nevertheless, Tony Williamson takes Division 2 and wins it in style with a margin victory over 8 seconds, with Mackenzie Mann holding off Stephen Orrell for third, and it'll be Sophie Eronwen, the biggest mover and shaker in the field. She jumps from 41st to 4th.
What a drive there as we catch more cars coming down the hill here and even more action behind them. But look at this stack up, all battling for 6th, 7th, 8th place on the racetrack.
Yeah, a big issue there as they go through, but now it's going to be a race of who gets there to the lines. Willem and Geddes, as Geddes left the door open then maybe for Rory Wetherington. Look at that, a slew of cars for the top 10, and you can get this, right? 6th place, Neil Armstrong, all the way back to 14th place, Connor Hope. A gap of just 2.2 seconds over the line shows you just how close all of the action is as the last few drivers will make their progress over towards the line. We are going to then take a chance to look at our finishing results then from this very, very crazy opening race, this Division 2 race of the Simify MX5 World Sim Series. And as follows, it was Tony Williamson who was able to pick up the victory. 26 minutes, 26 seconds. Had a winning margin of 8.9 at the end over Mackenzie Mann, with Stephen Orrell chasing all the way in third. Points and bonus points for Sophie Eronwen. Her run up to 4th position is legendary, with Simon Robson ending up 5th and Neil Armstrong holding off a cavalcade of drivers back there. Simone Serrano, Kay Poulsen, Charles Kellyman, and Yannick Willems, the Belgian, rounding the top 10, Joey.
Yeah, and here in 11th spot, we have David Geddes. Rory Wetherington there in 12th spot. Damian McMullen. Connor Hope 14th. Riyad Yasmin 15th. Martin Smith. Yvonne Hoefler. Luis Suarez. Johan von Winden. And Alvaro Rodriguez rounding out the top 20.
Just on the outskirts of the top 20 is Andrew Littler, one of the brilliant UK&I drivers, with Michael Tannegretta and Rene Zegelar 22nd and 23rd. We saw what happened to Matt Tempest. He got turned with Robert van den Heuvel, Jason Guerrara, Peter Reed, Lewis Benny, Kalle Rantanen, and Bill Jenkins rounding out the top 40 from top 30. From that point onwards, though, Joey, this is pretty much the retirement section.
Correct. Either one lap down or retirement. Bruno Albino, Nicholas Norwood, Tim Lancaster, Sebastian Hain, Jojo Patrick, Arturo Davila, Tyler Emery, Nick DeBeck, Milvin Tujian, and look at this, 40th, Aaron Gumasdal back there after such a great beginning of the day.
Yeah, real shame. Likes as well of Tony Harsher, Melvin Tyne, Patrick Alders. They're not going to get many points from this, and they're going to have to use this as one of their drop rounds that they have available to them here in the Simify MX5 World Sim Series. But that's not the end of action. Division 1 comes up immediately afterwards, so stay with us here with the Global Sim Racing Channel, because we've got some lights out racing coming up after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
There's a bear in the woods.
Right, come on, you fatty. Come on, fatty.
I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there.
Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room.
And we're on the way there. Ignore the fart. We go, and a bit of that, and a bit of...
Sangers, James, Sangers I've got.
My pedal broke, man. And thanks to Show That Bros, Mickey's on the most useless street in the world. Come on! Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys. Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road.
Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it, feel it.
I might be going mad.
Want to see me underwear?
Well, we expected a bit of action from Division 2 of the Simify MX5 World Sim Series, but that much action, I think, has pretty much set a precedent here. The top split comes through, Division number 1, and this is where all the marbles are scored, all the points. Everyone wants to be in Division 1. Everybody wants to be scoring points today. And this is going to be where you find them. It's Shakespeare and Joey Atterbury here bringing you the coverage. And Joey, this is a really important thing to remember. When you get in and try and find as many points as you possibly can, when you've got 4 laps to set it in a pre-qualifying, in a seeding day, you've absolutely got to go all out and prepare for that. What you also have to remember is, although you're preparing for a 1-lap run, you have to prepare for the race run as well.
Yeah, you got to put in the practice, not only for qualifying and that 1-lap hero shot, if you will, but you have to practice for a full race run. You forget that concentration can lapse, especially with other drivers around you. You need to keep it together for all 25 minutes out there.
All 25 minutes are crucial. And this has been a series where at the very, very top, in terms of how they've gone about their business, Joey, it has come down to the final lap on both occasions. The front of the field has been so well behaved in Division 1, and it's going to be about who can find the pace and who can bring themselves into challenge. Because if you're within half a second in terms of time, that's going to be okay. We bring you then to live coverage, 4 minutes remaining then in the qualifying session, and at current, we've got an eye on your current pole setter, number 6, Obsidian Racing. This is Pablo Espes with the quickest time, 2:07.622.
And really looking at, looks like the top 3 are all in the 2:07s, so the majority of the field right now in 2:08s or 2:09s. If you are in this 2:07 bracket, you are moving out here at VIR.
You are moving, and on top of that, they've got a slightly different setup to Division number 2. Now, Divisions 2 and 3 in the Simify MX5 World Sim Series are based on the baseline setup that iRacing gives. The difference is, for this top division, they get the advanced setup that iRacing gives.
It'll be a little bit different in how the cars react underneath them, but I think the bottom line and the main thing to get here is that all of these cars are on the same setup, so it comes down to the driver in understanding that.
Koba goes fastest then, 2:07.527. Morgan Burkhardt moves up to second. Lars Fischer now is up into 4th position. David Morales now jumps inside the top 10 as Jason Cooper's 5-star entry moves up then into pole position. A 2:07.355. What a magical lap from the driver who has been bridesmaid at both races so far this season.
Well, and I mentioned the only top 3 cars were in 2:07s, but now that other cars are starting to lay down their second lap, looks like the entire top 12 is in a 2:07. Things are starting to heat up on the racetrack.
They are starting to heat up, and they know that with just a handful of minutes to go, they've got to find those third and final laps and absolutely fly with them. And it just shows you how quickly the grid can change, because Caleb Patry was third all of but a minute ago here, Joey. He's now down to 8th place. Here's Pablo Espes on Madison Avenue.
Well, it just goes to show you how closely stacked the competition is together. And I think it goes to your point, Jake, of these finishes are bound to be great when you have so many competitors so close together in lap time.
They are, and they give each other a lot of respect out here. Espes on the brakes then for the Obsidian machine. Through the right then of the roller coaster, trying to dive down the hill, give as much as possible. You can see how he maximizes each curb out there on circuit. He's trying to open up the circuit. Stays narrow, though, through the final corner. He's really trying to fang his machine around this circuit. What can the number 6 do in terms of putting a time out there on the board? Crossing the line. Now will go Pablo Espes. It's a 5.73. It's good enough to jump up then 1 position up into 3rd, but who's going to find some times out there? Koba couldn't quite manage it. He couldn't quite improve. There is the number 3 of Jason Cooper. He's currently the quickest. Up then goes Lars Fischer to 3rd fastest. Jaime Dalmases into 5th place now with that time. But Cooper, knowing that this could be a chance I need to improve out there. Burkhardt goes 2nd fastest. Not quite on the tower, but Burkhardt 2nd fastest overall. And Jason Cooper then is there. But Fernando Antoli from nowhere needed a lap time and found it. 2:07 for the winner. Last time out's on the front row.
I'm just really impressed with Jason Cooper. I know he didn't go faster his 2nd lap, but 2 laps right now that are good enough for pole position, a 35 and a 37.
Absolutely fantastic. The last few drivers, there is La Molomarca looking to try and find a time. The number 11 machine out then on circuit, and that will be a descend down the hill for Andres Prieto. Does have an opportunity to improve. 16th fastest at the moment, just 9/10 of a second off of pole position, 2/10 to pass the Toon Boy, but it's going to be out of time. Let's take ourselves then over to the Simify starting grid. Of course, as we know, Simify is the new title sponsor for the MX5 World Sim Series. Simify is an online web shop housing a vast array of sim racing essentials for the next step in your virtual career. From steering wheels, seats, and handbrakes to even the common sim racing glove, Simify ships worldwide and is available to be seen both in English and Espanol. Use discount code MX5WSS at checkout to receive a discount on your sim racing purchase by visiting www.simify.com today. Jason Cooper with a 5-star qualifying performance puts himself on pole position. Fernando Antoli will be alongside with Morgan Burkhart and Ade Koba holding the second row of the grid. Lars Fischer and Pablo Espes are on row 3 with Jaume Dalmas's 7th and Oscar Pujadas in 8th place. Ronnie Mantaniemi starts in 9th, and it is Caleb Patry here, Joey, who rounds the top 10.
Adam Delmont there in 11th spot. David Morales 12th. Vladimir Shopov 13th. Eugenio Pulici 14th. Adam McNally. Andres Prieto. Oscar Lorenzo there in 17th. Ismail Lamela. Ari Haro and Trevor Roy rounding out the top 20.
We're going to cycle through then the rest of the field, likes of Adise Adams there in 22nd. Keep an eye out as well, Laurent Sebastian. Good qualifying from him. He's on the outside of the top 40. He's looking in with some good results here today. And of course, you've got the likes down 30th on back. Keep an eye on Andy McEwen as well. British GT commentator out there. Works very hard on the British scene out there. He might do well. So too the organizer of Belcar in Belgium, Ronald Moons. He is the virtual Belcar organizer and the final lot of the grid. All the way back there, didn't set a time. Marcelo Pagnan. That is huge in terms of this race. Watch him fly through the field. David Chapman also not setting a time. But 2 minutes up then on the clock. It is Jason Cooper in control of this one. It's Antoli Burkhard and then Ade Koba in 4th position. Watch out for that run to the horseshoe corner because the green flag's in the air and they're underway. It's a slow start by Jason Cooper, but that might bring Fernando Antoli alongside. A lot of wheel spin there, but now they're really going to rush. Look at how they all dive single file through the first, I think, about 8 rows, trying to get it sorted. And around the outside, Morgan Burkhart in a Delta Sport car, trying to get the move in his Miata to move through. Not quite going to be able to get it done on Cooper, but he's got the line on Fernando Antoli, and he is sorted. Fisher as well, side by side. They head to the NASCAR bend, turn 2 out there on circuit, but it is Morgan Burkhart who leads the race.
We got multiple cars turned around at the exit of turn 1, probably 10 or 15 cars involved back there, but up front it looks pretty clean, single file up through the top 15 as they exit out of the snake and into the upper S's for the first time.
This is where they need to behave on the opening lap of this race. They've got to try and get the tyres up to temperature. They've got to get the brakes working as well. Flying through the climbing S's, one car there in the back. Definitely not loving life at this stage. Really slow, trying to get up to speed. I believe that is Oscar Lozano, who's in trouble there, and so he's going to be dropping a long way back. But look at this up the hill as they go through. There is Lozano losing all that time, but they reach the oak tree for the first time, and this is where you're going to get all these drivers trying to draft, trying to work out where they want to be, where they want to position themselves. Jason Cooper, who is no stranger to second spinner in the background.
Yeah, got cars spinning around. I believe Trevor Roy is caught up in that one, as well as a couple others. And I don't think this is going to be the last of it. When you put 51 cars on VIR, there's bound to be some tire smoke eventually.
Ewan Bremer was caught up in the accident, but at the front, Jason Cooper moves to the point, makes the pass on Morgan Burkhart, and jumps up then into the race lead. It is Antoli, Koba, and Espes, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That is a danger sign behind. You got 3 Obsidian racing cars wanting to get 3 spots on the podium.
What a race and this is lap 1, Jake. Look at the fight behind now, 2 wide for 2nd place, squeezing through the grass up here.
God, Ryan Hunter-Reay would be proud of you, Ade. That is a brilliant, Fernando Antoli even. That was a brilliant attempt at a move, and it's still not over. Burkhardt, instead of defending, might have to attack. He bumps the back of Jason Cooper, which pretty much neuters his run, and thank you very much. Through goes Fernando Antoli then, up into second position in this race. And this is what this series has been all about. How do you stop those three incredibly quick Obsidian racing cars? They know how to make the moves, and they know where to find them. In through the left hook they go. But the group is fantastic. You got Dalmas's in sixth, Fisher, Pajadas, Patry, Delmont, Mantiniemi, Morales, McNally, and Andres Prieto. This is a 14-car group, that is there, because Ishmael Lamela has lost the place to Vladislav Shopov. 14 cars in the leading pack.
It just looks like one big, long train, and I think I'm seeing something crazy, though. The top 4 cars are still in the same position that they started.
It goes to show you that at the front, it's very similar in pace. It's very difficult to find the moves early, but they have been chopping and changing. Up the hill, then through now to the Oak Tree corner. They're all trying to maximize the exit, but it's about 6th position where it doesn't. Dalmases brings the group then a little bit closer together, and now suddenly Caleb Patry thinking of a move on Oscar Pajadas, maybe for position. So this group then, 21 minutes then left in this race and a bit of spare change to go with it. They're now trying to figure out how do you make the move, but if you're on the wrong side of the train, how do you get the overspeed to go through? Well, the answer is you push to the race lead like Fernando Antoli's just done. He's now clear.
Using the bump draft on the back straightaway, we're going to see it happen all day, where you're going to get teammates or at least 2 cars working together to try to draft by a competitor. And yeah, this is Pujadas there in the number 10 car off on the back straight.
He might have had a little bit of help from the next-gen machine of Adam Delmont through the corner, so that didn't help. Patry had nowhere to go as well, so drove through it, and that's why Oscar Pajadas is turned around. Back, though, to the front, because Morgan Burkhardt searching for the race lead. He wants to try and find a way through, and it's almost like you're watching Talladega at this point. They're all trying to find a draft partner to try and push through, and there goes Cooper through on the inside, then a Morgan Burkhardt, who might be shuffled back to 4th in the Delta Sport car, because that's Ade Cobra on the outside, the championship leader.
Oh, 2 wide through turns 3 and 4 here. Some bumping and banging, just like how MX5s were built to race out there. There's reason why these are some of the most popular and most fun cars on a racetrack.
Oh, absolutely. And it's because that it's not only a low entry of cost to try and get into a race like this, but on top of that, you've got to really go out there. Now, look at that. Immediately over to the left-hand side, Fernando Antoli's trying to break some toe early. Jason Cooper wanted absolutely none of that. I'm just going to take the natural line. I don't know why you're driving all the way out there.
Yeah, and I think he's got enough help behind him in terms of bump drafting. We're going to catch up to the leader, no problem here. I think it's more maybe mind games from our leader, if anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And now in through this section of track, up the hill in the Oak Tree. Ade Cobra almost into the back of Morgan Burkhardt there. But you've got the top 7 now clear, because Adam Delmont, after that incident with Oscar Pajadas, he's got some work to do to chase in the next-gen car. But the big key is this: 4 Spaniards in the top 6.
Well, and here comes Jason Cooper. He's making a move for the lead right now, and he's actually going to have Burkhead helping push him behind. He's going to claim the top spot coming off of the back straightaway.
He is. That's a great move. And Burkhardt trying to make it happen around the outside of the roller coaster. It's going to have the inside line down the hill, and he's going to take that away. Great work. Burkhardt now back into second position then with a very nice overtake through that section of road. 18 minutes, 42 seconds. And this is pretty much these drivers just throwing a jab here and a jab there. We haven't seen haymakers just yet, but where do you want to make the move? You must cover the inside, and you know what? We're all going to play bump draft, and there's trouble there down at the back, a bit of smoke, and that's the number 44 car there a little bit further on back then, finding a few troubles. That's Laurent Sebastian, as look at this. They're 2 wide. They're almost 3 deep, 2 wides they go through. And where in the back of all of that, just losing the back end slightly, was Jaume Dalmases going?
Oh, trust me, they thought about 3 wide going into turn 1, but I think they were wise not to do it here so early on. Remember, we still got 18 minutes left. This is a short race, but still 18 minutes. That's a long time in these cars.
Oh, it is a long time, and that's troubles then for number 20 out there. That's Caleb Patry dropping down the order then, and that is through contact over at turn turn 3, sorry. He lost the back end, and Patry, believe it or not, it was the teammate of behind us. There goes the 24 car off the road, and the heavy hit into the barriers there. So huge troubles there going on forward. Everyone starts to get caught out.
It's starting to look a little bit like a Pro 2 truck race out there. Maybe the Mint 400. I see tire marks coming off of the grass, bumpers laying in the dirt, and here we're coming back up to the lead battle. This is Jason Cooper leading this pack of 8 cars out onto the back straightaway one more time.
It was Ishmael Lamella who found the barriers at the Snake then. That was the troubles that we saw, but here's the trouble. Being at the front, you are susceptible then, being the baroudeur, so to speak. You've got Fernando Antley going through, but a little bit of help there from Morgan Burkhart gives the shove, and they can fight side by side. Room being given, though, as they hit the brakes. Fernando Antley, so committed. Look at him. He gained about 4 car lengths under brakes.
Yeah, and I also think that Jason Cooper was, I don't want to say giving him the spot, but I think that there's a certain etiquette out here between the front 5, and it's easier to race side by, or I should say front to back, than it is side by side, and that's all Jason Cooper was allowing Antley in, is go ahead, take the corner, let's keep on fighting the next time around.
Yeah, and because they leave that gap, it means they're less likely to battle. And look at how they close once again. It's on for 4th place. Ade Koba and Pablo Espes then into team battle. Espes has maybe got the short end of the stick so far this season, Joey. The only one of those 3 Obsidian cars who doesn't have a race victory so far. You bet he'll be chomping at the bit to join his teammates in victory lane.
Well, I mean, I look at any of these top 8 cars, really, Jake. Any of these cars have shown that they have the speed to lead the race here. It just matters where you are, probably coming off of the back straightaway on the last lap.
Yeah, it certainly does matter. There's a car going slow. It's Andy McEwen who's in a little bit of trouble in the Year 1 racing car. Just had a bit of a slide through the opening section. Now finds himself side by side and is going to hold around the outside of Jose Gonzalez then. For position as round goes, number 88 out there on track. That is troubles then for Amanullah Bacchus, the South African.
Yeah, see, I believe this is maybe turn 1 out there. Oh, this is coming up over turn 10 now, catching up with the cars on the racetrack going down into Oak Tree here. And this is just behind our lead battle. I believe this is about for 11th or 12th place on the racetrack here.
Vladislav Shopov just in front of Ronnie Mantiniemi. You've then got David Morales, and then you've got the Toon boy, Adam McNally from Newcastle upon Tyne in England. So you've got those 4 drivers looking to try and really give chase here to that lead group. But because they're all drafting up at the front, they're all breaking away. They're all doing what they want to. And at the front, there's another change because all of a sudden it's Jason Cooper now. Back to the point, back to the race lead. But they do scrap behind Ade Koba and Pablo Espes, and then Dalmases having to deal with Adam Del Monte as they dive down the hill.
Oh, and it's just kind of been a little bit of back and forth, who drafts who, and I'm noticing that the bump draft, of course, is very popular here in these cars. It works a little bit differently here in the sim that I'm noticing versus real-life racing, but no matter what, these competitors are going to make use of the tools available to them.
Look at this. They're all trying to pick a lane here. Cooper trying to defend in towards the horseshoe, the opening corner out on circuit. Can he get clearance then on Fernando Antley? Answer to that is yes. Now here comes Morgan Burkhart. And Burkhart, I think, has made a very, very nice friend in the form of Cooper. But Antley still searching for the inside of the NASCAR bed. He has got a spirit of I will overtake everywhere. Now they're all trying to drive in through the left hook. Burkhart gets shuffled out wide. That now allows then the Obsidian cars to race, and they might break away. Dalmases off the road.
Yeah, still too wide coming out of the lower S's here, and we got another spin on the racetrack. I believe that's Espes now hard into the wall.
Oh, and that's a shame for Pablo as he goes through contact with Morgan Burkhart, slightly over the curb, and then finding himself in the wrong position. Pablo Espes' chance of victory then slides away today. Still too wide. Ade Koba up through the climbing S's with Morgan Burkhart. Burkhart lifts off. The front 2 are clear.
Yeah, the front 2 have really pulled away from this battle of 4 cars now. We did have top 8 together. Now it's really split up into 2 separate packs.
Yeah, 2 and 4, and that's why it's important to make a clean pass in this series, because you can lose time so quickly out there. It's very much a case of what do you do? The gap's 1.4. You can just about claw that back if they play games in front. But now, look at this from Fernando Antoli. He senses that those behind, he would rather not have more in the party. I will push you to the final lap because I want to get clear.
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting strategy to see if these front two work together to really kind of stretch it away from that pack of 4 and then fight it out for the last couple laps. But I don't know. This pack of 4 is already starting to kind of seesaw their way back up to them.
Yeah, so that's the key. They've already been able to close about 0.3 of a second of that margin. If you're within about a second here, the draft is so strong, you've got a great chance of clawing that back in, and that's where you're going to have to look. Keep an eye out, though, on some of those drivers outside the top 10 who are making moves. Joel Singleton right now is the biggest mover and shaker. He'll take the hard charge of bonus points at this point. He's looking for 17th over Ray Lombardi.
And I think here the leaders just did a flip-flop, and I think Jason Cooper's got the right idea. Oh, no, this is the 34 with heavy damage on the racetrack, and also the 58 turned around up in Hogpen.
Yeah, that's Brett Ride. You'd have Connor Hope from the Division 2 race spotting him. That was no dice at all there for him, and he'll certainly have to take another crack at that as he goes through. But, yeah, there's certainly a couple of drivers there who are walking wounded at this point down the hill. Brett Ride able to continue on this race, but the group of 2 and 4 will join back up once again to be 6 at the front. But it's also very interesting that second pack that's going through right now, being led by Vladislav Shopov. Shopov 8th in the championship coming into this one, and he just finds consistent top 10 finishes.
Well, and I'm actually looking at him. He's up 6 positions from his starting spot of 13th. So consistent with what you're saying out there, Jake. Just a really good drive from Shopov so far.
Yeah, he's doing well. We focus on the leaders, though, at this point. 10 minutes and 48 seconds out there on the clock and ticking away still. Your top 2, Fernando Antoli and Jason Cooper. They've been trading the lead all day long like it's time to get busy on the stock exchange. And here's another chance. Bye, 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 says Jason Cooper. He wants a move. Koba and Burke are pushing. Now, the likes of Ade Koba, you wouldn't want to push Ade Koba in because there's 2 lots of the Obsidian car in. But if you want your own race to go out there and win, you're going to have to push him if you want to get to the race lead.
I'm going to have to push him indeed. And I was wondering, if you said bye, bye, bye as you're passing a competitor, do you have to do the NSYNC hand motion out the window as you're driving by him?
Yes, absolutely you do. That is an unmistakable fact that you have to do the NSYNC hand movements. Here comes Morgan Burkhart, though. He's got the help of the train, so he will get himself that little bit of help thanks to the slipstream, the hole punched in the air from these Mazda MX-5s. And thank you very much on the brakes. He'll now take 3rd position. And look at that power move by Adam Delmont there. The next-gen car starting to make some progress. He's through on the German Lars Fischer.
Really good late braking move into turn 1 from Adam Delmont. Snatches away that 5th place position. Now he's got a sight set on a potential podium as this group of 6 has once again closed up anybody's race to take home for the win.
There's been changes behind as well. Shopov has dropped back to 9th place. Both Jaime Dalmasas and Ronnie Mantiniemi have both found a way through as well. So changes there as now the Finn in 7th position will now have the unenviable task of trying to chase down this group. But look at them. They're already 5 seconds off the back of that group.
They really are, and it's so tough to make up that time when you lose the draft, especially if you don't have a big group of buddies your own. It's just an uphill battle, and sometimes even with front-end damage, I'm seeing front-end damage on some of these cars, makes it even tougher to make up that ground.
The Zenith Esport car there of Jaime Dalmasas looking every which way for a pass at the South Bend. A little bit of contact behind as David Morales gets pushed by Andres Prieto there in La Macomera there trying to get himself through. And in the background, McNally decides he wants to take the rallycross route to try and get himself going forward. He was trying everything to get some pace.
Whatever it takes out there on the racetrack. If you tell a race car driver, use up all the pavement, he's going to use the grass as well.
Oh, he is. Antoli ran the outside, takes the race lead away from Jason Cooper. Burkhard was desperately trying to push Jason Cooper to a long side through that section, but Cooper was like, no, I'm going to let him have that place. I don't need the race lead right now. I need it when that clock strikes 0.
So Watching this front pack, Jake, there's been one outlier to me, and I think it's really been Jason Cooper and how calm and collected he's been. He's lost the lead a couple times just based off of people drafting around him, but he doesn't ever worry. He's just right there in the next braking opportunity to go ahead and snatch it right on back.
Why don't we push it 3 wide almost in towards the opening corner? Ade Koba is the driver with nowhere to go. Burkhardt on the outside then. Might lose out. He's still got a little look to the inside. Can Cooper shut the door through this section? Yes, he can just. And they fit into line almost seamlessly as they go through there. But the more that they battle here, second, third, and fourth, this might be another role that Ade Koba is going to do. Cause chaos, pandemonium, go for as many moves as you can, give the gap. Burkhardt, little bit of dip into the grass, and suddenly the gap opens up to the 5-star motorsport car, and they're going to have to work hard again.
I tell you what, Burkhardt almost lost the race himself. He was flirting with disaster on the outside of the track there. Thankfully, kept it on the pavement.
Just about managed it up through the climbing S as they go. Ade Koba so alert to everything that's going on out there, and he is a driver who is right up there in terms of some of the best out there that iRacing has to offer. He was part of the famous Iberica team before it disintegrated. He's been up there with iRacing. He's part now of the 8,000 club, looking towards the 9,000 club, and that's a very, very select group, 7, 8, 9,000. That puts you in the top 1% of all iRacers worldwide.
That is a lot of laps accomplished, a lot of experience here on the sim, and I think that's all coming into play right now for Ade Koba. He's just trying to find a way onto that podium. Do you work with somebody right here? I think he's going to think wisely, say, hey, you know what, I'm not going to challenge you into the break zone. Let's catch up to our 2 leaders.
At what point, though, do alliances break? And speaking of break, there is the 135 of Ray Lombardi in trouble.
Yeah, just more troubles on the racetrack. I think that was coming out of Oak Tree. Probably got wide on exit, little hook spin himself, but thankfully keeps it going out there.
Look at the number 5 just for a second. Marcello Pagnan back in 50th position at the start of this race. Didn't set a qualifying time. The Italian is up to 16th.
Yeah, 35 positions is what I'm noticing. And that's not, he was caught up in that lap 1, turn 1 wreck, Jake. This has not been clean. He got held up heavily at the beginning.
Just goes to show you how much pace he could have had if he put a lap time together. He is one of those brilliant racers for SRC Movano Corsa, which was at a point in time an endurance racing on iRacing, Joey, unflappable at the front of fields.
Yeah, well, I think it's showing off, and I don't think he's done yet. Probably going to go up a couple more positions. Looking at a little bit further back, this is the 49 and 44. Mitchell Costers going at it for the 18th position.
Mitchell Costers was in Division 3 in the opening race of the season. Look how much work he's done to get up there, and now he's trying to find a move on David Chapman in the Year 1 cars. Troubles, 12. That's not good. That's Adam McNally.
Adam McNally, and I think that was coming out about turn 5 area. Lower S's is where I saw that. It's been catching drivers out all afternoon.
It has, and that'll be a real shame for him then. He'll be looking to try and bounce back then at the 4th round of the championship, which will be at Oran Park. So we'll take a look into the virtual for the 4th round overall. You can see the damage there as you can climb up the S's, and it's all about breaking away here, and they will have themselves about 2 laps to go when they cross the line. So they're all got to try and think about it. Speaking of which, look at the push that Morgan Burkhardt gives. Jason Cooper now will move to the point then at the front. On the brakes he goes. Can Burkhardt follow it through? On they go through the roller coaster. They're still going to fight down the hill. Room being given. Brilliant work by Antley on the outside, giving just enough and a little tap for Ade.
Yeah, a little bit of rubbing going on right now in our top 3, and Antoli was trying to snake down the back straightaway, doing whatever he could to try to break the draft. But once again, Jason Cooper up to the point, in control of this race. See if Antoli can take it back here and turn 1 as he's already underneath him.
All 4 in the grass, trying to make the pass, and he's going to have to get it slowed up on the brakes. Ade is so deep on the brakes as well. He's trying to find a way through. There'll be door-to-door contact for 1st and 2nd, for 3rd and 4th. Here comes Adam Delmont in the next-gen car, trying to pick up the pieces too. Cooper still on the inside then. Here towards turn number 2. Brilliant stuff with 3 minutes to go.
And Tully got left out on the high side around turn 3. That's going to open the door for Koba
going up the inside here of 4 and not going to make it happen. Antoli hangs on to the outside here for the second place position.
And crucially, Delmont makes the pass on Burkhart too, so he's up into 4th position. Now, can the two Obsidian racing cars coordinate at this point to get themselves through? Jason Cooper's had Lars Fischer for help, but he's been stuck in the back. He's found no way forward, and all of a sudden, that gap opens up 3 and 3, and the difference is about half a second at this point. They really need to close it up, and you know Antoli's going to get some help from Ade here, and Jason Cooper will once again have to try and beat those two Obsidian cars who have both found victories this season against said number 3 in the 5-star motorsport car.
Well, I think that if you want to win this race, Jake, you got to be in 2nd or 3rd place coming out onto the back straightaway. You see here, Antoli already making a move halfway down the back straightaway. Jason Cooper really is just a sitting duck at this point, so time to strategize for that last lap.
Big move to the inside from Ade Koba. He very much thought, I'll go outside. No, I'll go inside. I'll try and follow him through. And there's troubles. There's contact there. Cooper gets a tap, and through goes Delmont. Through also goes Morgan Burkhart, side by side for the lead. Ade Koba's going to have to play rear gunner here. Adam Delmont is timing this fantastically. Contact again as they go down the hill at the hog pen corner, and suddenly Antoli's got half a second.
Oh, things just fell apart for Jason Cooper, but Koba hanging on to 2nd place. He's got a loose car underneath him, just wheeling that thing out there.
He is wheeling, he is dealing, he is doing everything. Now, where does Morgan Burkhart go? Oh, he pushes Ade Koba, he didn't want that. On the brakes they go. Delmont around the outside. Can he hold the move? This is the final lap of the race for 2nd position. Delmont must make this pass if he wants a chance of victory, because they are about half a second back. Through turn 2, he'll have the inside at turn 3 if he wants to get this done. Brilliantly done by Adam Delmont, but Ade Koba could fight back at the left hook. He is going to have a little look. No, he's not close enough on the brakes.
They have to stay in line from here to Oak Tree if they want a shot at the win. Otherwise, they're going to be scrapping it out for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th as Delmont leads Koba out onto the S's one last time.
Has Fernando Antoli found the magic? The gap now is 3/4 of a second. It needs to be a big push through this section of road if they want any chance. You've got Delmont in 2nd, Ade Koba 3rd, Burkhart 4th, Cooper and Fischer, the 5-star cars, are 5th and 6th through the South Bend. The gap's come back to 0.4 of a second. There's a good chance here that it's going to be late from Adam Delmont if he wants to make this move. Oak Tree is so crucial. What's the run like? Oh, brilliantly done by Fernando Antoli. He took everything he can, and watch the serpentine. Watch the serpentine on this backstretch. He is going to move as much as he can, shake off the draft. Where do you want to go? If you're Adam Delmont, he's not closing quick enough just yet, but now he'll get the overspeed. Now he'll try and make this move. Ade Koba moves out now. He wants to try and get himself through. This is it. They'll box him in. Oh, look at that. Obsidian box him in. Ade Koba's going for the race lead, and off he goes. Off he goes. 1, 2, 3. Oh, God. And just like that, it's Morgan Burkhart who's got the race lead. Incredible stuff. Top 3, all out of the roller coaster. Morgan Burkhart, oh no, he's gone. Burkhart's gone as well. Jason Cooper, oh my goodness. How has he done that? Jason Cooper, it's a 1-2 for 5-star in the wildest finish you've ever seen. Oh my word.
Jake, didn't I tell you everything? Jason Cooper's just calm as a cucumber. He had everything under control out there. Didn't you see that? That was purely forecasted.
Oh my goodness me, that goes down as what happened next. Oh my word, you can't believe that's the end of that race. Vladislav Shopov's got a podium. I don't know how. Wow, just wow.
What a crazy final lap, Jake. I couldn't believe it. You know, I saw it happening down the back straightaway when Delmont was trying to get a draft, and then he had 2 teammates working against him, and he threw a Hail Mary down into turn 14. It didn't work out. Caught up all 3 leaders, and then I don't know what happened to Burkhart. He just lost it all by himself going down into hog pen. Oh my goodness.
Let's dissect that after the race, because let's get a look at our official classified results here from what is an incredible run around this brilliant circuit. In fact, no, we'll take a break first. We will step aside for one moment. We'll come back with results because, my goodness, do we need it. What a race here for the Simify MX5 World Sim Series.
There's a bear in the woods. Right, come on, you fatty. Come on, fatty. I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there. Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room.
And we're on the way there. Ignore the fart. We go, and a bit of that, and a bit of...
Oh, you know.
Singers, James, singers I've got.
My pedal broke, man. And thanks to Showdown Bros, Mickey's on the most useless street in the world. Come on!
Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys.
Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road.
Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it, feel it.
I might be going mad.
Want to see me underwear?
Well, the craziest thing may have just happened. Let's take a look at the final lap. Immediately it happens. Ade Koba and Morgan Burkhart making contact then through towards the opening corner. Anthony's got to break away at this point, but this final lap, this is something that goes down here, Joey, in sim racing legend.
This whole final lap, Jake, look at this lead that Antony has out front. This is just here in turn 3, and this is where this pack of 4 behind him really has to get single file to catch back up, and thankfully they do, because they provide us with one of the most exciting last half of laps I think I've ever seen in sim racing, and it really all starts to develop coming out of Oak Tree, where I think right now our top 3 cars aren't even crossing the start-finish line when we get to the end of it.
No, not at this point here. So up through the climbing S's, this is all about catching back up. And likes of Adam Delmont there in second position had to absolutely go. The next gen racing car had to push and did push. And this is the key. It's all about the run out the Oak Tree. It determines here, Joey, whether you get a chance to attack at the roller coaster or not.
Absolutely, and we're going to see our leader here, Antony, really start to weave down the straightaway, trying to break that slipstream. And about halfway down, Delmont in second place is going to get boxed in by his teammate and have to make a late braking move, and it all goes downhill from there.
Yeah, well, either you got to make the move or not. Ade Koba just so wise to the situation, moves over to the left-hand side, covers it off, and here's the key. How do you get this one to stop? On the brakes, no, he catches Antony, so he's off. Delmont's off, then he's not stopping, and that takes out Ade Koba as well. But watch Morgan Burkhart here, because he's got awful troubles. It's not because he's caught the curb wrong. He has a wheel failure right here. Wheels, they go hard left, and that's it. Him out of the race. The wheel just completely goes on him. That's his race gone. And then all of a sudden, walking through towards the checkered flag, a Jason Bradbury-style finish for Jason Cooper. An incredible showcase there of just staying patient and letting the race happen. He was 5th entering the final lap. He has gone and won this race. Let's take a look then at official classified results then here from VIR and the Simify MX5 World Sim Series. It is Jason Cooper who takes the victory by a margin of 0.3 of a second over his teammate Lars Fischer. A huge 1-2 for the team's championship, with Vladislav Shopov from 13th, finding the podium ahead of Ronnie Mantignemi, and then Fernando Antoli managing somehow to find 5th place come the end of the race. David Morales would finish 6th ahead of Ade Koba and Jaume Dalmasas 7th and 8th. Adam Delmont would end up in 9th position, with a Jordanin Svetanov finding a top 10 from 23rd on the grid, Joey.
Andres Prieto there, 11th place. Marcelo Pagnon, who we highlighted earlier, up 38 positions to finish 12th. Caleb Patry there, 13th. Lauren Sebastian, 14th. Pablo Espes had that little problem earlier on, finishes 15th place. Stefan Alderding, 16th. Patrick Canchel, Ronald Moons, Joel Singleton, and Jose Gonzalez rounding out the top 20.
Over the page, then 21st would be Ray Lombardi. He would have a spin. So too today would Ewan Bramer. A lot of Finnish drivers through here. Ariharo Terotilis, Michael Elliott, not Finnish, he's South African. He's in 25th with Kalle Kavisto, 26th. Then ahead of that is Edward Gross in 27th, with Roberto Bruno making debut, finding 28th place as a finish ahead of Trevor Roy and Christian Hinch, rounding out then the top 30.
31st, we've got Sandra War there, and Amula Bacchus, 32nd. Oscar Lozano, Oldest Adams Jr., Brett Ride, 35th. David Chapman, 36th. Tomi Pellinen. I'm looking at this, Jake. We're still down here, 38th position on the lead lap. Pedro Marman. Mitchell Coasters, our first car in 39th, 1 lap down. Morgan Burkhardt there in 40th, finishing.
Yeah, so those drivers finding troubles, and I believe they will classify Burkhardt ahead of Mitchell Costas. Andy McEwen finding himself 1 lap down, a cry for all commentators everywhere as he finishes 41st. Ishmael Lamella is 42nd ahead of Martin Sampson. Kelly Greenhoe there with Carl Jacquelet also a lap down, so too Miles Owens. 2 laps down then, Carl Winkop, and we hit the retirees now, the likes of Adam McNally, Josue Lopez finding troubles today, so too Eugenio Pulici, 8 laps down. The other 2 drivers, Oscar Pajadas and Luis Benny, a 52-car field here today for this race, and all finding a huge amount of trouble overall. We are, though, going to get a chance to talk to a couple of the drivers here from that race. First and foremost, though, we will talk to our race winner overall, Jason Cooper, who has stood by with Joey Atterbury.
Jason, congratulations on that race win today.
Yeah, thank you. That was a bit of an intense race, that one. I feel a bit sorry for Morgan because he was on for the win then. He looks like he's had a wheel disconnect on the last corner. So I feel really bad for him. But yeah, it was a really good race. Shame about the accident at the end. It took a couple of guys out. But yeah, really happy to pick up the win. And obviously for Lars come second, so team 1-2.
Well, now, you led a lot of this race. It seemed like between you and Antoli out there just kind of drafting back and forth, you were in control out there. I noticed you were pretty calm and collected. However, things kind of fell apart going into the final lap. Were you worried that you were going to be stuck back there off of the podium?
No, I knew something was going to happen, so I was just sticking in there and going to pick up the pieces when it did kick off.
Well, and then talk to me about what you saw on the last lap going down the back straightaway with all the chaos involved. How do you position yourself to try to make up a position but also avoid anything that can potentially happen in front of you?
Also, there's a lot of weaving, trying to break the draft. And obviously, I knew someone was going to try and launch at the inside of the braking, so I was just primed to pick up the positions on the chaos that ensued after that. And lo and behold, it did happen, and yeah, came out of it in second.
Well, congrats once again on the win, Jason. Before I let you go, is there anybody you want to say hi to or thank?
I want to give a bit of a shout out to Marcelo, 50th to 12th. What a drive that was. Fair play to him. Good job, Marcelo.
And we did notice that incredible drive, up 38 positions for your reference there. And Jason Cooper, our winner here at VIR. Congrats.
Yeah, cheers, guys. See you next time.
Well, there you have it. Jason Cooper having a fantastic showcase of driving. We will grab the driver who finished second position overall. That, of course, was Lars Fischer, who will join us right now. Now, Lars, you spent a long portion of that race being sat at the back of that group, waiting for an opportunity to strike. And it looked like you didn't have to do anything really at the end of this race. All the action sort of happened around you, and there you were at the end in second.
Yeah. I'm just speechless. Still speechless. What happened there? Yeah, just keeping up to the front pack and waiting for my opportunity, which surprisingly happened then in the last two corners, and yet at the end of the straight. Which luck for me, but big luck for me. But yeah, 1-2, great result.
Well, it's a great result. It brings you back into the team's championship with that push. But today is all about, having drivers there. And, this track certainly provided a lot of fireworks. How much reference did you have around VIR from the media day over towards today's racing?
From the media day, I don't think that much. It was just the last week, which got me up to pace. I think from the seeding day, I was with the baseline setup. I was 5 tenths up. Put some hard work over this week with the advanced setup, which put me in a good position today to get P2.
Well, we go from a track where it's a little bit easier to overtake to one that's a lot more difficult. It's Oran Park on April 30th. So what are you looking at in terms of getting yourself sorted there, and how important do you think qualifying is going to be to get the results you want next time out?
Say qualifying would be important, very important. But I would say I like this track. Raced there before a lot, so one of my favorites, I hope. Looking forward to it.
Well, we should be as well. Before we let you go here, Lars, anyone you'd like to thank? Shout out sponsors. Who gets it done?
For sure, Jason. He's the biggest push over the last 2 years we raced together. So, yeah, big shout out to him. For sure.
No worries at all. I'm sure you'd like to shout out the Kansas City Chiefs as well for winning the Super Bowl on top of that. Lars Fischer there joining us, having a really, really good run and getting a second place finish on top of that, making everything fantastic. Third position then overall, finding third by the end of that race was Vladislav Shopov. He joins Joey Atterbury right now on virtual pit lane.
Well, Vladislav, you got to be happy. Up 10 positions to stand on the podium at the end of this one.
Yeah, I still don't know what happened. I was pretty much content with finishing just outside the top 10, and then at the end of the last lap, there was just like cars left, right, center, Mazdas flying, and by the end of the last lap, I was just counting the cars in front of me, the ones who survived, and there was just 1 and 2, and I did the math, and it turns out I'm third, and I never believed that would happen.
Well, you're right. You were in that second pack, kind of at the beginning of the last lap, and you come home across the line in third place. But we're watching this replay here. It's not without a little bit of a scary moment going into the final braking zone off of the back straightaway here. I saw a car come up and actually almost take you out. Were you aware of any of that in your rearview mirror?
I saw it for like a tenth of a second, and I didn't think too much of it because I didn't feel anything in the wheel. But I just saw it in the mirror, just flying right to left, and that's it.
Well, sometimes you got to have luck out there on the racetrack. And actually, we're going to catch this replay as it happens right here, Vlad. And looking next, I believe it's Oran Park that you go to. How are you feeling with confidence there? It's a very different racetrack compared to VIR.
I've never driven it with the Mazdas, and I think I've driven it only once in some other league. I still have to learn it.
Well, hopefully you'll get some good practice time before race time there. And before I let you go, anybody you want to say hi to?
Just my teammate Jornin. He finished, I think, P10, which is a great result. He's been finishing P10 for like 2 races now, which is great.
Awesome. Well, that was Vladislav Shopov coming home in the 3rd place position here at VIR.
Yeah, that's a huge result then for him. And on top of that, the team as well. We're going to very quickly talk to the driver who finished 4th. Ronnie Mantiniemi joins us now. Ronnie, you were 10th going on to the last half of the lap. You come out of it in 4th. How did that happen?
I have no idea. I just was in the back of the pack, and then there was smudges flying everywhere. I think I had some damage during the race, so I was quite happy to finish in 11th or 10th, but something great happened on the last lap, for me at least.
For you, at least, 4th position. We can see the front of the car. It looks pretty wounded, so to speak. But talk about racing in the middle of that pack, because you had that second group from about 10th place on backwards that were always there, that were always looking to challenge. And, you know, you're in there, you've got a group of 5 there in front of some very capable drivers. For you, how do you look at this race in terms of the result you've got and the points that you crucially take to bolster your push towards a top 40 finish in the grand final?
Yeah, I'm over the moon about the finish. I led the second pack at some point, but then I realized that I don't have I have top speed that is not as good as everybody else, so I dropped back, and I think I was lucky, so I wasn't in the crash that happened in front of me in the first or the second pack.
Well, on top of that now, you have a look towards Oran Park, which will be a good month from now in terms of how you get that race. Very different in terms of the style of racing there, because it's going to be about positioning, a lot more difficult to find overtakes. So when you get a track that isn't often raced on iRacing, how do you go about looking to challenge it and get some reference and some good lap times there?
Yeah, I think we need to just start practicing with my teammate Ari Harrows and get a good result in the qualifying and just hope for the best.
Well, we hope to see the best out of you. The floor is yours, though, from you, yourself, and the Blue Rose team. Shout out sponsors. Who gets it done?
Yeah, I need to shout out my teammate Ari Harrow and say sorry to my girlfriend that is sleeping in the next room. I showed that when I realized I was 4th in this race. I hope she didn't wake up.
Well, I'm sure there'll be a few apologies if she did, but still, it's well-deserved. That 4th place, incredible. Ronnie Mantiniemi there joining us and having a really good showcase of things there from that. But that is going to bring us to a close here for action of the MX5 World Sim Series. And what an incredible run for the Simify MX5 World Sim Series it has been. A massive thanks to the team today from Joey, Zach, and Dougie. Make sure to check them out on social media as well as our website, and make sure to check us out as well on our merchandise store. You can find all the links in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so you don't miss a moment's action of racing here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Our next race in terms of the series is Oran Park, Sunday, April 30th. 4:40 p.m. Eastern is the time and the place. You'll definitely want to join in for that one. And on top of that, you can catch all of our other broadcasts on here rolling around on screen. In terms of what's next for the Global Sim Racing Channel, the Porsche's Owners Club tomorrow will be at Mid-Ohio for round 7 of the championship. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern for that. But until next time, with a beautiful, beautiful finish to what was an incredibly crazy race, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.